I'm on checking how high the tide is duty for the family, the things that we do, right? So a few days away with the Brazilian and the children as it's school holidays. And I did something about 3 hours before I left home that paid for this whole trip. And I want to give you something of a practical but also a mindset piece, because both of them are equally as useful. So I've got this super cool client called Joshua, and Joshua helps people write books, turn those books into courses, programs, and ultimately clients. And Joshua went to Europe this summer. He lives on the West Coast, went to Europe, went to Spain, went to all the nice places, etc. And along the way he had at least one, maybe two, the details escape me, events where he had clients come, hang out, strategize, get a plan, and go home. So these clients flew from mainly the West Coast and the East Coast to Spain. And the tide is high, in case you need to, complete that story arc. He got clients in, strategized, etc. And when we were jamming on the stuff, we talked about the concept of being paid to exist. And I had this mindset for a long time, but it was the first time I'd actually articulated and worked with someone and seen them turn it into something and actually turn it into something myself. And paid to exist talks about the fact that we as entrepreneurs want to be entrepreneurs so we are free. We want to have businesses so we're not accountable to other people for our time, our income, and we don't have the constraints that quote unquote normal people have. And paid to exist is the mindset of, I am going to live my life and I am going to creatively create ways to make my life better. And I am going to get other people to come along for the ride, and I'm going to monetize bits or parts or all of it in order for me just to live my life and be with the people that I love and do the things that I love. And I have a school group, which is for people who've bought any of my products. There's about 750 people in it, and it's free, but the price of admission is anything from my book to $10 to some of my $1,000 courses. And in the school group, about 2 hours before we jumped in the car and drove down here, I did a flash sale of probably my most kind of comprehensive standalone course if outside working with me inside the community, which is the 3K code and the social code. So normally that's $999 and together in a bundle, and it takes you from generating 3K through a Google Doc offer, how to turn that into 3K a week, and ultimately how to turn that into 3K a day, and gives you everything you need if you want to do it yourself. And I sold that for $199, and I said, I've got 10 copies available, and I'm not going to run out of stock, it's a digital product, right? But I said I'm making 10 available, and they are $800 off for the next 10 people who get it, and it's $199. Within 2 hours, so the time it took for us to get in the car, come down here, jump, get into the hotel, etc., that had sold out. Interestingly, I sold a number of other courses at the same time, which was another few $100s. So that $2,000 pays for almost half the trip that we're coming down here in Nusa Dua. It pays for the hotel rooms. Yeah, it pays for 2/3 of the hotel rooms, and the things around it, pay for the extras. And this idea of paid to exist isn't, just thinking short term and in the moment of I'm going to sell this thing just to pay for this and living in that kind of short term moment. It's this idea that we are creative beings, and if we intentionally live our life and we intentionally set up ways to be paid to do that, then we can have reasons, excuses, whatever you call, and strategically deploy our assets to pay for those things. And one of my highest performing ads at the moment tells the story of me flying back to from New Zealand early in the year with the kids. It was $8,000 worth for one-way business class tickets, and I sold more than $8,000 on that flight with my thumbs, a Google Doc, and some Wi-Fi. And again, that's that idea of being paid to exist, because it just asks a simple question: is like, if I had to pay for this right now, thankfully I've got the money to pay for it without doing anything. But if I had to pay for this right now, what would I do? And the interesting thing as well, it's if you tell people the reasons behind it, and Joshua was like super upfront with the people who attended his event, like, I want to take the family to Spain. I want to spend the summer in Europe, and I want you to come along for the ride. People buy into that because it's an aspirational idea. Well, the right people buy in. We can, on these social media platforms, we're going to get plenty of people who don't buy into that and actually despise the idea. So paid to exist is both a mindset and also, a strategic and creative deployment of the assets that you build. Because if you set these things up and if you have them right there and waiting, and you leverage your IP, you put them together, then you've got lots and lots of choices about what you can deploy and what you can ultimately be paid to do. And you could turn this into pretty much anything in terms of extend this idea as far as you want. You can be booking luxury travel, and I know plenty of people who book, do VIP days and these kind of, strategic kind of days because they tack another day onto their holiday stay, or they're going to a nice destination, which of course, makes it easier to sell as well. If you're going to a nice place, then inviting people along to hang out with you at a nice place is not too much of an ask. So paid to exist is a mindset, it's an approach, it's an idea that when you have your IP, when you have things set up, when you have leverage, that we have a lot more freedom and we can actually choose to live our life first, and our business and the things can wrap around it. And, the success I've had, especially in the last 24 months, is due to putting my life first, putting the things that are important to me first, and then packing everything around it. And the kind of irony is that without having an obsessive focus on just the ways to make money and how to do it, and putting the business first, I've actually made a ton more money, and in the meantime have a ton more freedom, and a ton more fun of things to do, because that paid to exist mindset is ultimately present, and I have both the ability to do it, but also the assets to do it, to deploy it, so that things becomes a reality. Thank you very much. So this paid to exist is available. Again, it's available if you set up the assets to do it, and it's set up the mindset to do it. Put your life first. The reason that we became entrepreneurs is to have freedom. And many people are chained behind a desk and chained behind a monitor and chained to Zoom, and they've lost the freedom that they actually intended to get to in the first place. So you can be paid to exist. It's a choice. It's available if you want it.